What's up, guys? Been a long time since I've been on here, but as you might have seen with my short or my reel, that I finally got the new fuel tank for Berbera, our 1997 GMC Suburban. This thing's been leaking fuel since I got it, and recently the leak has gotten really bad. So follow along as I try to replace the gas tank. The bolt that holds the skid plate on is a 13 mil, and then the long ass rusty bolts with the broken clips, 15 mil. All right, so first thing we are going to do is take this skid plate off. A bolt here, and a bolt over here, and then you can see it up there. There's one there, and then same on the other side. So we're going to take that skid plate off, and then we should be able to remove the straps for the tank. And crusty. And I lied. There's actually a third one right here. So back here there's 4 again, so I just got that one out. That one, and that one. So let's see what we can do here. All right, so there is the skid plate, protect the gas tank. So now that we've got that out of the way, now I did have this off once before to try and find where this leak was. We couldn't find it. So it's most likely leaking from up above or underneath this plastic guard here on the bottom part of the tank. So now what we'll do is pull these straps. So just a bolt here, and then they hook around to the front, and then we'll see what else is there. Might have to undo these here, and then hopefully everything else has enough wire in it or hose on it that we can drop the tank down and disconnect the rest of it.
If it's love, I want everything. Touch my soul, touch my heart, don't judge my mental. They told me that life is simple, been real since Papa Pimple. I started out in the rental, Sonata, the presidential. Speak once and listen twice, they told me that less is simple. I'm observing in the room, I be flying all on the wall. Open mouth conversations, I leave you all in some awe. Cutting through the noise, I'm hoping I leave a scar. If you don't know where you been, how you knowin' where you are?
Just cruising the night, I'm grooving. Thought you said you was my type, I'm moving too slow. Text back like shit, I'm cool with it. I can match energies, babe, I'm moving.
Okay, so next up, I've got those bolts loosened so the straps are loosened, and then I'm going to loosen off these here, and then pop those off. So hopefully that can come out with the tank. And I think once I undo those clips, I should be able to pull this tank and drop it down. So we'll see.
No. Pretty Caroline, stone cold stunner. She was a winner, started working at the diner.
Okay, so got both those out. Both straps are down now. I think. That is the plastic cover in the bottom of the tank. That looks absolutely nasty. Don't know what this shit is. I think that's silicone. There's a bunch of dirt built up over here, which is probably where my tank is leaking. So yeah, you can see all the corrosion and stuff on the tank over here. This side of the tank looks okay. This should all down now, but there we go. Okay, so the tank dropped down. We've just got a few things to disconnect. Wiring harness, fuel lines. It's like this hose. That hose goes over there, so we leave that on for now. So it's just this hose here, which looks like we have to unscrew. That one. And then this one here. Looks like we can just undo this clamp for now. Oh, fuck. Well, saw that. These are corroded as fuck. So, not sure what to do about that. Probably gonna do the same thing. Yep. Might as well just rip this sucker off. There's a connector up in here, right here, and right here. It just goes above this cross member. That is the wiring harness for the fuel pump. And then there's a ground. It's attached right here. And then our gas tank is free. Okay, so fuel tank is out. Unfortunately, the lines on top of the fuel pump super corroded, so they just broke away when I tried to loosen the fuel lines. So I'm going to look up how much it costs to get a new fuel pump. If it's cheap, just replace it because I'm here anyways. Makes sense. It's a lot of money. I don't know. I might try and clean up these ones, cut them back, and make them work, which is not the way I would recommend doing it. But if you're on a budget, then you're on a budget. So I'm going to go look up how much that costs. Okay, so new pump was $100 total, so got one on order. It's not going to be here till Wednesday next week, so a week from now, which kind of sucks, but is what it is. You can see right here where it snapped off. It was just so rusty as soon as I tried to turn the nut in there. Just came right off, which means it'll be interesting to get off the truck too, those fittings. But yeah, in the meantime, we'll get the rest of this stuff off the tank and prep what we can on the new tank, and then get that rubber guard cleaned up, and then the skid plate, we'll clean that up and paint it as well. That locking ring didn't survive very good either. So inside the tank, it looked pretty good. That's just from the top of the tank here. But up top here, this is all corroded, and this locking ring bent out of shape already, and I already broke these off. So, I mean, I'm here right now. I might as well replace it. Okay, so I figured it'd be a good idea to compare the new tank to the old tank. Comes with a new locking ring and gasket, which is good. I don't know if the new pump will come with one. Old to the new, they are the same. That works out perfect for us. So just a matter of getting that new fuel pump now, and then we can drop this in there. And check this out. Made in Canada. How cool is that? Our new fuel sending unit has arrived. So I'm about to crawl under the Suburban, but I just wanted to let you guys take a look at my lights. I'm sure you guys have seen them in my other videos. I use them all the time. They've got a rechargeable battery. I actually have two. It's got that 3 levels of brightness, 2 levels of brightness, and a flashlight. And then this also has a wave sensor, so you can wave it on and off. Anyways, these are pretty good buy. I use them all the time. They work really good and they last a long time. And in the wintertime when we're walking around, I even get kids to use them there. So if you are interested in getting a set of lights like this, I'm going to put a link in the description and you guys can order one. All right, so I'm gonna cycle it a few times Means I'm going to let the fuel pump run to prime the fuel lines.
Will it start?
I think it will.
Oh, you're not trying to start it right now?
Not right now, no.
Can it stay on here forever?
Okay, so as you saw in that last clip, I could not get it to start. So, I lost some motivation for a bit there, and it's been honestly like a week, maybe 2 weeks since I was last in here working on it. But we had to start going through some diagnostic checks to figure out what's going on here. So let me show you what I did so far and what's next. So one of the things I read online, and this is my suspicion, and that's what we're probably going to do today, but I'm going to walk you through what I've done so far to figure this out, is that some of these cheap fuel sender units and fuel pumps are wired backwards. So weird, but it sounds like it's pretty common thing that happens with these really cheap ones. So what I did to start though was tried swapping out some of these relays. This one here is the fuel sending unit, or the fuel pump, and it is good because the rest of these all work in its place, and I did check and listen and all this kind of stuff for the fuel pump working. One of the main things I did to confirm is built myself a little jump wire here. This here has constant power all the time, so you jam that in there and then you push it in here and you'll be able to hear that fuel pump click on. So you might not have been able to hear it on camera, but you can hear the pump inside the tank going, but it's super quiet and doesn't quite sound like what I recognize a fuel pump to sound as. Another step I took was I pulled the fuel lines off right there and lifted them out, and then lifted them out and then jumped it again to see if I was getting any fuel coming out of those lines. I haven't tightened them all the way back down again, and nothing was coming out. So I'm not sure what else to check other than dropping the tank again possibly here and playing around with the pump outside of the tank to see what it's doing. I'm gonna look up quick to see if there is a way to safely flip the wiring from the outside, because there's 3 wires that come out of the unit. I'm not sure what they all do yet, so I'm gonna see if I can find a wiring diagram. If there's 2 wires that I can flip to reverse the pump, because maybe it's pumping in reverse or backwards or sucking or something. I'm not sure. That might be the issue. So that is the next thing I'm going to try. First, I'm going to see if I can do it without dropping the tank. Okay, so here's what we're going to try. I just tried this off camera. So I've got the old fuel sending unit that I know works. The only reason we replaced it was because the fittings were all rusty. I wouldn't have been able to come back up. So just using these to clamp. Take this wire here, clamp it to the power so I can stick it inside of the pieces there. just a little experiment to see how these wires work. So this is the old fuel sending unit. And you can see here, this is the typical connector. So we've got the gray, purple, black. The gray is the one that turns the fuel pump on. Black is the ground. So I'm going to connect the ground there. And then I've got this little jumper wire here. And I'm going to stick that in the gray, and you'll be able to hear the pump kick on. Now, my suspicion is that's been wired backwards. I don't know if it affects this or not, because there's no way for me to tell using this if that's sucking or pushing or however you want to say it. So to experiment with this, I tried hooking up the ground wire to the positive side, and then my jumping wire to the negative. And then if I push it into the gray again, you hear it go. So I think what I'm going to do is assume that whichever way you wire this in determines whether it sucks or pulls. So if I go underneath the Suburban and I cut the gray wire and the black wire and flip them, just as I suspected. I've rewired that, and then watch where those fuel lines are. Yeah, definitely getting fuel now. So it was wired backwards. So I need to permanently fix those wires better, and then we shall be good to go. Ready for that? So the only thing I'm noticing right now is my fuel gauge says low. So we're gonna try and dump a little bit of fuel in there. Let's see what's going on. So obviously that didn't work, but I think I know why. I think the reason the gas gauge is not working is because instead of taking out the fuel pump and fuel sender unit, like I should have, all I did was, let's see, hold on. All I did was flip those wires, which I mean possibly means that the sending unit to tell the fuel gauge how much fuel's in the tank now does not read correctly because it doesn't have a ground, so it's not working. So that 100% makes sense. My truck is back on the road and it's driving, it is working. I'm going to take this as a win. So, I'm going to take it as a win. I'm very excited to have it back on the road. It took me way too long to do that. So, in summary, don't cheap out on your fuel sending unit and your fuel pump. Buy a quality one. I think this is a common problem. I saw it all over the internet about them being wired backwards, which is a huge no-no. Like, what the hell? Anyways, buy a quality fuel pump, and you probably won't have these issues. If you do buy a cheap one and you run into these issues, pull it back out of the tank and rewire it properly, instead of how I did it, where I just flipped the ground and the power for the fuel pump, because I'm pretty sure that's the reason why my fuel gauge is no longer working. So I'm going to have to do that at some point, although I am just going to take the win and go from there. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for following me in my misery. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. If you do have an idea of why my fuel gauge isn't working and you think I'm wrong, leave it in the comments and let me know, because I will eventually want to get that fixed. Hopefully soon we'll come up with some more content on Project Living Dead Girl, Dead Betty, our 1955 Buick. And yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. Keep cruise culture alive.
Why do I feel so down? Why do I feel so blue? Why do I feel so blue? Why do I feel so blue? Why do I feel so down? Why do I feel so blue?